think we're live. I'll do a brief test here and just verify while I'm sharing a different screen and make sure that we're live on X. So give me just a moment. But while I'm checking that, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
Cool. What was I suppose, the most interesting part of your day, or what'd you have for dinner?
Thai food for dinner. In fact, we had the same dish, actually.
We did.
Perfect. Well, yeah. So tonight we'll try to spend the necessary but also the minimal amount of time to kind of explain things. And this is a pretty chill in terms of technical talk, I hope. We'll see. And in my neighborhood, they're trying to kill a bunch of different bugs, and so smelling things or talking is pretty challenging. We're gonna. I also had my friend Joe to the screen, who you guys have met before. So we'll add Joe in here. Welcome, Joe. You don't have to comment or turn your video on unless you want, but we're gonna watch some videos, have a reaction or some conversation around it, and then try to wrap up within 20 to 45 minutes or something like that. So yeah, just gonna welcome you. You're welcome to cam on if you want. Doesn't matter if you don't want to. And I'm glad that you joined, because you either joined the direct link or perhaps you joined from X. I cannot validate because my computer is out of memory. But I would love to start off with kind of a voting example here from election integrity and sort of the main focus of Marigold Insights. Before we start, I think everybody here, aside from maybe Joe, has pretty intimate understanding or a relationship with the way that the platform works. So are there any questions before I play this data before I play this video and we kind of go through things here?
No question.
No, I think we're good. Yep.
Cool. So I will just go ahead and play the video. Before Joe joined us, I was mentioning that the neighborhood's getting sprayed for an insect problem, and so they just fumigate all the houses at once. And if they get near me, I'm unable to talk or breathe. So if I have any sort of, if I start to lose my voice, just please chip in, because I'll be fine. There's no health issue. It's just, for me, it's kind of like sitting, if you're at a campfire and the wind decides to blow all the smoke from that fire right in your face. That's what happens to me, and it's harder to talk. But without further ado about not much of anything, I'd love to play this video, and we'll start now. So just a moment, we'll switch over here. I can't hide this tab, so we'll try to just play it to the best of our abilities.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to uncover a massive, legally mandated public asset that's honestly just sitting right there, waiting for you. I mean, it already belongs to you, but chances are you've probably never accessed it or even known quite what to do with it if you did. We're talking about civic transparency, specifically the raw data that forms the absolute foundation of our local communities. So let's explore what's been hiding in plain sight. Did you know your state election office actually owes you data? No, really, it's true. Across the entire country, state election offices will deliver official voter registries directly to their citizens. And get this, sometimes they hand these files over completely free of charge, while others might just ask for a nominal administrative fee. But the core principle here, it remains exactly the same. The public voter roll is a public asset. By law, it belongs to the citizens it represents, you and me. 2.5 gigabytes. That is huge. If you go ahead and request your data, you might get an email with a subject line like Official State Voter Registry Export. And the file attached to it is going to be absolutely massive. To put that into perspective, a 2.5 gigabyte text file is roughly the equivalent of reading War and Peace thousands of times over. We aren't talking about a simple grocery list here. We are talking about hundreds of thousands, often millions, of rows of incredibly complex, multi-column civic records. And honestly, that massive size creates a pretty huge catch. Think about it. You've got traditional spreadsheets on one hand and these massive civic data sets on the other. Anyone who has ever worked with data knows this frustrating experience. You double-click that massive export file, crossing your fingers, hoping it opens up in your standard spreadsheet software. And instead, bam, you get an error saying the file's way too large. Or worse, your computer just hits you with the endless spinning beach ball of death and completely freezes up. Traditional tools simply weren't built for this kind of heavy lifting. The result is this huge gap. You have the legal right to this data, for sure, but turning millions of rows into actual actionable insight, it's practically impossible. Section 1. Marigold Insights, the purpose-built data engine. So how exactly do we bridge that gap? Well, think of Marigold Insights as an empowering slingshot, one that's designed specifically for large-scale civic analysis. It's built on 3 main pillars that make it the ultimate tool for everyday citizens: zero-lag exploration, repeatable playbooks, and total local privacy. Let's walk through each of these systematically because, honestly, you'll see why this is a total game changer for transparency. Diving right into that first pillar, zero-lag exploration. Remember that incredibly frustrating frozen computer screen we just talked about? Well, Marigold completely eliminates that spreadsheet bottleneck. With a sleek, high-contrast interface, you can essentially drag and drop that massive data set directly into your browser. And you instantly get a zero-latency loading bar, super smooth visualization, and fast filtering across precincts and registration histories, all without a single computer crash. It's kind of like magic. Moving on to the second pillar, repeatable playbooks. Look, analyzing millions of rows of data can be super daunting. Like, where do you even begin? Well, Marigold takes incredibly complex forensic audits and boils them down into simple, step-by-step processes. You can actually create and use shareable playbooks. So, step 1, you can easily identify duplicate registrations. Step 2, effortlessly track address updates. And step 3, reconcile precinct tallies. It literally transforms highly specialized data analysis into a clear, repeatable workflow that anyone can use. And that brings us to the third, and honestly, perhaps the most crucial pillar, sovereign data. This is Marigold's vital security and privacy mode. So what does that actually mean? Sovereign data means that all of your research and all of this really intense data processing happens entirely locally, right on your own machine. Your sensitive research never, ever touches a third-party cloud server. By keeping everything local, Marigold ensures that your inquiries remain completely private, incredibly secure, and entirely yours. Section 2. Nationwide adaptability and state-agnostic processing. Now, it is absolutely crucial to point out that this tool isn't just for one specific county or one specific state. The reality of raw state exports is, well, it's messy. You're dealing with wildly varying layouts, chaotic formatting, and just an overwhelming amount of raw data. Literally, every state does it differently. But Marigold Insights is purposefully built to adapt to any state-specific format nationwide. It takes all that chaotic formatting and turns it into seamless compatibility with clear, actionable structures. Basically, it transforms overwhelming raw data into verifiable ground truth, no matter where you live in the country. So the crucial takeaway here is this. Transparency shouldn't be some exclusive privilege reserved only for massive institutions, political parties, or organizations with huge IT budgets. The tools for accountability shouldn't be hidden behind a giant wall of technical complexity. This is all about empowering everyday citizens who genuinely care about the integrity of their local communities by giving you the exact same technical capabilities as the big players. Which brings us to our final and definitely most provocative question. Transparency belongs to you. It's your legal right, and now you actually have the tools to utilize it. So what will you uncover? The bottleneck has been completely removed. The data is sovereign and secure, and the truth is just waiting to be verified. I highly encourage you to take this empowerment to the next level. Visit marigoldinsights.org to learn more and start unlocking the power of your public data. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.
Cool. So let me get that paused, and we'll have to do a little bit of readjustment here, but hopefully I think that it's now paused and we can react or talk, right? You guys are able to hear everything? It was okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. So I'll kind of tee up the next one and as we're talking here, once I remember how I did that. But any reactions or questions or initial feedback or thoughts you might have?
I was waiting on your dad. I'm sorry. He looked like he was about to say something, and I didn't want to interrupt him. Just that I'm really glad, as a person who has interest in election integrity and election accuracy. Sometimes things just happen. It's not a matter of integrity. It's just a matter of, accuracy and needing the proper information. But I'm all about average citizens having access to good, solid information. And sometimes, you know what, some of these counties or places, the election commissioners have a large population to serve. Maybe they'd like the help of a close friend that says, hey, I've got a few hours. I could help you. I can look from the personal average citizen perspective. I can utilize those tools. I know you are the only one with access to the state-based tools, but I have a few hours to spare. I know you're busy. I can do a few things, hand them to you, then you can research them because you're qualified. I'm not, but I can find out some facts for you. I'm all about that. I love that idea.
Yeah, I agree. And also I think the video does a good job of explaining fairly well what Marigold can do. And in fact, that was exactly the problem that we had, was trying to pull in very large spreadsheets, which is exactly what you get from the state. And it's difficult to do that, if not impossible, on a normal. I guess you could buy software, but a normal Excel spreadsheet or something like that just won't do it. And it is it's a challenge. And it does take a minute. The very first time you download it, it'll take a while because it's large and it chews on it for a bit, which is expected. I think most people understand that it takes a while to get it loaded into memory, basically. But it's very useful, and it's not difficult to understand or use. There's a little learning curve, certainly, like with anything, but the playbooks, I think, will evolve over time, probably, as more people use it and find things that might be more useful that's not already there, that they can tweak or use, or whatever the case is. You can also, which I don't think the video talked about this, you can do it at the state level, and you can also do it at the county level. In my case, what I did is just kind of downloaded all of it at the state level. And then if you want to move it around in Excel, you can do that too, to sort in some particular way or whatever. I'm probably better at Excel than I am at Marigold at the moment, but that's because I've been using Excel for 30 years or whatever it is, which is normal. But, I think it's very useful. And people you don't have to be super computer savvy, I don't think, to use it. Probably helps to know a few things for sure, like anything. But I do think that the video does a pretty good job of explaining everything. And the good news is, with a program like this, is you jump in, and if you kind of the way I always learned all of my computer programs is, I guess that's terrible. I never really read the manual. I just got it and started tinkering around and trying to figure out, what's going on and how to use it. If it breaks it, then you start over and try to figure out what you need help with. And to me, it's a very user friendly and easy to do that with the program. So I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, on your last point, it's kind of like that scene from the movie Christmas Story, where Ralphie and his friends triple dog dare Flick to touch his tongue to the pole, and then he's out there screaming and flailing his arms and all that, and the teacher's like, "Where's Flick?" And they're like, "Flick, Flick who? Never heard of him." Is I got no idea. And you just look at the kid and you can tell that they're guilty as sin. It's an interesting way to explore data. And you made a comment a couple of minutes ago about, I guess you could purchase the software. And within election integrity specifically, you cannot. It does not exist. It does not exist. The entire protocol for this was invented by me, and in tandem with both of you guys, as well as some others. Period. It doesn't exist for voter integrity, and didn't exist within the last couple of months. And the reason that's critically important to understand is, at the moment, using the software just to run the data is entirely free and would be low cost. But if you would like to, employ more advanced statistics or integrate with other things, we're getting a thunderstorm. So if you pick up some background noise, just let me close my window and see if that tamps things down. But this is first in world in terms of working with civic infrastructure, and the ability to work with those huge data sets on your own machine is important legally, because you cannot share between states. You can't even really download or view voter data across counties, or discuss that you even own it, or refer to anything, or say this or that voter ID. There's really strict restrictions on what's transmitted and to whom and when and where and why. And this allows citizens to generate a really simple, dead simple email to say, "Hey, I found 10 to 15 anomalies. I can send them to you, and if you wouldn't mind investigating, that would be fantastic." And then secondly, if you want to explore this yourself, you should have a much better tool, which is sort of a state election integrity, or sorry, a state election management system. You should have that, and you can dive through and you can look at it yourself. Or if you want this link, you can just click it, make sure everything is aligned, all the stars aligned properly, and you can glean those insights yourself. So it's the first time that people across state lines have ever been able to collaborate on strategies to diagnose patterns within search data, regardless of whether that is voter integrity or something else.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And I know over time it'll only get better as people learn different ways to use it or look for different things that haven't been thought of. But you're a builder and designer, but you're not an election expert that deals with it every day. So there'll be nuances that
Of course.
they'll know about that will be helpful for the software long run, I think.
Yeah, of course. So I do have one more video to play. We've been at it for about 15 minutes. The other video is about the same length. It's like 5-ish minutes or so. Before we launch into that, Warrior Ken, do you have any feedback, comments, questions, things you think we should cover or discuss?
I can't think of anything now. Maybe I will after I watch your video.
Agreed.
Cool. Let me pretend that I remember how to do this. We shall see. One moment, I'm going to make this full screen so that I don't show that I play a stupid video game. There we go. I like watching silly video game videos while I eat lunch sometimes because I just want to detach from the world. And everybody has their drug, and my 10-minute video of somebody trying to build a character is a pretty innocuous one to imbibe. So you guys can see the 0000, etc. 1, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm going to play this same thing as before. We're looking at 4 minutes and 48 seconds. So if you're watching live, first off, thank you. And just bear with me. These videos are publicly available. They should be on my X profile. They're definitely on my YouTube. And this is more about the protocol itself from a high level. And yeah, I'll just play it and let it run. Ready to begin?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's go.
Intelligence operates on a single governance.
I'm going to scroll back because I didn't realize it just launched me a second in.
Modern artificial intelligence operates on a single governing metric: speed to resolution. It is designed to scrape the internet and spit out an answer in a fraction of a second. The entire infrastructure of corporate AI, from the server racks to the user interface, is optimized to eliminate friction and deliver an immediate response. But an instantaneous system only sees snapshots. It processes frozen data points, completely detached from the messy, ongoing reality of actual human life. To move at that speed, the algorithm has to discard the environment. It strips away the local history, the physical cues, and the emotional weight surrounding facts. A handful of massive tech companies vacuum up these flattened fragments by the billions, hoarding them in centralized servers to train their foundational models. When the only measurement of intelligence is how fast a machine can resolve a query, the profound depth of human experience is treated as a bug to be optimized out. These models learn by averaging us out. They take the erratic, highly specific knowledge of billions of people and squash those extremes into safe probabilities. History warns us that while a single tragedy captures empathy, a million becomes a mere statistic. This algorithmic compression turns distinct lives into sterile math. We are now preparing to put these exact same models into humanoid robots and send them into our homes, our hospitals, and our streets. A machine powered by those homogenized averages will look at a person and see a statistical ghost. It will interact with a calculated probability, completely blind to the actual individual standing in front of it. Human life operates on a completely different axis. We are defined by the deep, slow friction of lived experience. Our minds are in searchable databases. We carry millions of sensory details and highly specific knowledge that you cannot capture in a text prompt. These experiences do not exist in a static 3D snapshot. They unfold across the fourth dimension of time, anchored to specific places and specific moments. An AI can ingest every Wikipedia article and forum post ever written, but downloading a freeze frame of the entire internet does not teach a machine how to actually comprehend us. To understand human context, a machine must be forced to anchor itself to a continuous timeline, experiencing information alongside an independent, sovereign person. An intelligence severed from time is a calculator. True comprehension requires experiencing the world at the speed of a human life. Bridging that gap requires abandoning the old model of mass web scraping. We have to build a sovereign data protocol, a new architecture for the internet. Through local-first tools, individuals organize their specific expertise and local realities into secure, encrypted maps on their own machines. When an AI agent needs context, it no longer scrapes a central corporate server. Instead, it sends a direct request through this protocol to ping these independent human nodes. The AI pays a microfee to pull highly specific, real-time context directly from a human curator who actually understands the nuance of that information. This flips the entire economic dynamic. You stop being a passive resource mined for data and become the active, sovereign gatekeeper of your own reality. Economists have long warned that concentrating knowledge and power into a single central authority inevitably distorts the truth. Yet we are allowing a tiny handful of tech corporations to dictate the exact parameters of how machines will interact with humanity. If those companies control the foundational data layer, they have absolute control over the reality those robots perceive and act upon. We cannot rely on corporate giants to voluntarily program empathy into artificial intelligence. We have to hard-code respect for the individual directly into the architecture of the web itself. Human sovereignty must become the foundational rule of the network. This new protocol operates as a decentralized toll booth and translation engine, establishing clear boundaries and economic value for our lived experiences. It forces AI models to legally and financially acknowledge human creators, paying for specific domain expertise rather than freely absorbing it. This is how we build machines that actually navigate the nuances of our world. They learn to move at our pace, grounded by the specific, messy, beautiful data of real life. By decentralizing the data layer, we ensure that intelligence remains tethered to the individual, and that the technology of tomorrow reveres the human spirit.
Cool. So switching back here. Hopefully that one played as well.
Yeah, it did.
So we're killing it in terms of the technological stuff. With the real challenge, like the last live stream that we all did together went well, except for the last 5 minutes when I couldn't figure out how to end it because I turned into an error. So far we're doing well, but the
It glitched out.
Yep, it sure did. It was like it was a challenge.
He'll come back in a minute, hopefully.
He had storms. Remember, he said there were thunderstorms.
Yep. I hear your bugs going too.
Uh-oh.
Now he's back.
we lost power, so now I'm connected to my phone.
Yeah.
I was saying the true technical test is whether I can actually end this thing. And sometimes God says, "How do you feel about a lightning strike on your Wi-Fi?"
There
And He
you
makes
go.
the decision for you. So
Yeah.
who needs technology when you have acts of God to blow things up for you? So I don't know how I'm on my phone now and tethered over. So thankfully that's working. But any questions, feedback, initial responses?
Well, I did like that second video. To me, speaks more to kind of the for lack of better terminology, the model or the design or the outcome. Yeah, because it kind of talks about which I think I understood, but kind of putting it in one spot is really good about the AI scraping your data for free and basically using your everything you've done that's at least findable on the internet, perhaps over multiple years, if not decades, and using that to learn through its models. So you're quite literally collapsing someone's entire career into data and they could literally become obsolete if the models learn that experience. And that's something that I don't think I fully understood. I know I didn't really, and I don't think most people do, that that's where we're headed in this AI world if they continue to scrape data for free. So
It's
this is
where we
quite the
are.
innovation. Yeah, it's quite the innovation, I think.
Yeah, so just quick feedback, and then I'd love to hand it over to you, Lori. So prepare your question. The stark, amazing contrast of this is you sort of have two options. As an individual content creator, as an individual academic, business owner, whoever, your choice is to digitize yourself and everything that you've ever believed, thought, felt, could think, or whatever for $0, and then have your job taken away by AI, which is what's happened in the last 2 years. There is essentially, no matter how much you bang your head against the wall, no matter how hard you work, at least within technology and a few other very affected industries, you're in trouble. And so what a lot of publishers do is that they use this file. It's called robots.txt. It just instructs, like, for web crawlers like Google and things like that. It tells them what they can and can't do, and it says who is allowed and who is not. And so your choices are either be excluded from the future of information and humanity, or give it away for free to the point where you're not afford to live. You can't afford life anymore. So it's between a rock and a hard place, or between digital erasure and physical starvation. Is essentially what will happen if we don't get this right. And so the issue, like when you create websites or things like that with, or not independent, but sort of major frameworks like WordPress or things like that, is they give you the defaults, so you may not consider it, and you don't have any recourse to reclaim value that's taken for free, or to participate in a system that is designed to exploit people just like you, just like me, those rich men north of Richmond, or really west of the East Coast in California, don't care about you. Your dollars ain't blank because the rich men north of Richmond don't care. And to me, it's a civilizationally important problem. If we don't get that right, Oliver Anthony's song, The Richmond North of Richmond, is not just reality, it is an inevitable dystopia, which we've already found ourselves not only trapped in, but have given companies like, I don't know, I wouldn't name one because I don't want to be that bold, Anthropic, in California. We've given them control of everything, and people are just so physically, emotionally, and like pseudo sexually reactive to the power that you get by using that they've never stopped to think. They've never stopped to ask that Dr. Ian Malcolm question that he asks of Jurassic Park. You're so busy or you're so preoccupied on whether you could, you never stop to think if you should. And this is a problem facing mainstream AI, that as the user, as the individual voter, if we do not hold these institutions accountable, not necessarily by regulation, which is going to be short-sighted and designed by bureaucrats who can't write a bill that's less than 7,000 pages and requires 3 hours of review. It has to be a market solution, because you can't trust the way that the system works. It has to be a market solution that introduces new modalities of interactions into a system that is corrupt and corruptive of the individual's contributions. So that's my pitch. I think that we're using Restream, so it'll give me a couple of clips that I can turn into shorts and put on YouTube. I hope one of those ends up. But I'll pause there and stop being philosophical and waxing as such. Lori, I asked you to think of some thoughts or questions or reflections. What do you have for me?
Well, I guess I have the perspective of a 60-year-old to share with you and say that I see the world becoming increasingly less human, and there being a decreasing amount day in and day out of a human interaction. You check yourself out at the grocery store, there's all these different things, and there's just less humanity involved. And you know what? but we're still human and we still need those relationships. We still need those support systems. And honest to goodness, we like the creativity and the uniqueness and the quirkiness of real people. I mean, machines are not really quirky, they're just mean sometimes. Ken and I stayed with a friend last night in another city, and I went to heat the coffee in his microwave and it locked me out. I mean, like, why does a microwave lock you out? And he's like, why indeed? His coffee pot does not keep the coffee hot. So then you have to, you make the coffee, and if you wait like a few minutes when you're drinking your coffee slowly, get a phone call, whatever, you come back, your coffee's cold. So then you're trying to reheat it in the microwave that will lock you out. And you're like, where is the hammer? And let's just work on this and end this whole situation. Yes. So technology can be really helpful and good, but the human touch of something that's designed to help humans truly is very much welcome. Instead of something that's designed to chop us the heck off, which I would think that the microwave and the coffee pot would fall underneath in that category.
Everything. I mean, over time too. Like, how trustworthy are electronics you bought in the last 3 years compared to what you bought 30 years ago? It terrible. Like 3% is functional. Absolutely horrible. And so, trusting what's currently built. Period. Between relationships to politics to whatever, it's so things change and move and break so much faster than they used to. And that's not some lamentation for a past that can't be recovered because, my gosh, the grass was greener in 1988. It was, factually. But also, we can't get that because the planned obsolescence or the ability or the enforcement of buying new things, experiencing more products, consuming more and more capital for a worse and worse product is why a bag of chips used to be huge and full to the top. And now you buy the same size bag of chips, but you get as much as you used to.
Yeah.
And that's not slowing down. That ain't going to stop either.
Yeah. Agree.
Yep.
Can be Lori. We can, we're at about 30 minutes, which I think is a great length. I could talk about this, as y'all both know, for hours or weeks or months or years, as I've been trying to do. And these videos have been extraordinarily instrumental in articulating and visualizing things that I think others have had difficulty accessing. So if you guys want to wind down, I know that it's getting fairly late where you're based. Do you have any final thoughts, or is there anything that you think merits losing a little bit of sleep over because it's so dang important?
I just have something that came to my mind, and it is, instead of Back to the Future, which we all know is a movie title, you could say instead of being Back to the Future, it's Return to Human. Basically, return to human idiosyncrasies and more human sovereignty over what we do and over what the things that we create, over how we interact. And I mean, it's pretty boring, really, if you just only interact with computers all the time. Sure, they can solve some problems, but they can create some too. And so I'm really glad that humans are quirky and we can have our days too and our moments. But you know what? I like quirky. I prefer quirky over boring most of the time. When it's my quirkiness, I love it. When it's someone else's, it's like, okay, I might want a little more boring.
In the world of the future bell curve, which has taken the middle 45 to 55%, sliced everything else on the edges out and compressed it down, the eccentric or the eccentric, the oddball, the esoteric, the weird person becomes the highest, most human commodity ever. But if they can't get their voice out, if they can't send a letter because the post office won't send it no matter how much they pay, they can't access the bank, if that voice can't be heard, either you need a parallel system or society and humanity itself is harmed, like irrevocably and irrecoverably. And the more power we give the companies that are intent on seizing that power, which they've never asked us for, the more dire things get. But yeah, Lori or Ken.
Yeah, I don't think most people understand. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think most people understand that the AI companies are literally scraping our data for free. I mean, that
Yeah.
was kind of a
Yeah.
real shocker to me. I mean, I guess I knew that, but you don't think about it, right? You've got all the other things you're trying to deal with all day long, like the power going out or whatever, and it's not top of mind. But by the time it does become top of mind, if we don't get a handle on it, it may be too late. So Definitely your concepts are cutting edge, and hopefully people will recognize that and start to move in the direction of being able to protect your and guard and gate and monetize your own experiences is what it boils down to. It's not just your quote data, it's your life and your experiences and what you've learned and all the things that you've done that makes us human, in addition to being, valuable from an experiential perspective. So people hire you because of your abilities to do things, largely based on experience and education and things like that.
Mhm.
But if that becomes a commodity, then frankly, they don't really need us very much anymore. And that's pretty terrifying.
I'm going to make it worse for you. This isn't in the video. The outrage you're feeling is half of the battle.
Mm,
They're not scraping your data for free. They're ignoring it at cost. So there's two different sides of the equation. It's if you're an LLM, right? So that stands for large language model, which is basically every AI you've ever used. That's what it is. It's an LLM. The LLM has two motivations. They can either, access data that's already been indexed, in which case they want to download everything they can for the cheapest price possible, for the least effort possible, just as you would for anything else in your life. And then for real-time inquiry, they want to access whatever is as quick as possible. We're already here. Like, this is not theoretical or conspiracy theory. It is literally how the system is designed. And so, in the case where the librarian, Common Crawl for the most part is pretty good, but most of the indexers of current human knowledge, they just scrape your information for free. They package it up, and they sign between $100 to $3 billion contracts, sometimes renewing every year, with these companies that are valued at $1 trillion plus, that make it so that that company doesn't have to sign a contract or let you know that they've taken your data, and you're monetizing people's money. Common Crawl is open source, so it is, I think, it has problems in the way that the model is created. Others have no scruples whatsoever. Um, they're not only taking your data, they're billing tens to hundreds of millions, potentially billion dollar companies that are taking data and expertise that you've spent your entire life, your fortune, your education, everything that you brought to the table in your life. They're taking that for free, packaging it up, making it convenient, putting it in a legal wrapper, and serving it up to OpenAI and executives like Anthropic and others to craft LLMs that completely delete your experience and everyone you know, where places and people like, I don't know, a little person called Dolly Parton, who died yesterday, God rest her soul, couldn't build Dollywood, couldn't tell the stories of her youth growing up in a cabin somewhere in Appalachia, in a town most people can't say because they ain't Southern enough. That is the truth. If we do not have a way to fight back against this, don't have a way to be heard, if we don't have a way to be seen, we're too costly to even introduce ourselves back to the matrix. We're just excluded in a parallel system, and everything else we rely upon, from banking to housing to electrical grids to political participation to world representation to finding a freaking job, which is one of the most fundamental rights of most people who need to pay bills, you're screwed. And that is not some hypothetical dystopia. I have been living this reality for months and have hundreds, if not thousands, of data points that illustrate that this is happening to lots and lots of folks. It's just those folks have already been left behind because the algorithm that's evaluated us has decided that we're just not worth including because our dreams aren't worth preserving. That's a shame.
It is.
Yeah, it's pretty dystopian, which is not great, but very, very disturbing.
And unfortunately, it's like not hypothetical. It's not saying this could happen. It's saying this is happening and nobody cares. Which is it hurts. It hurts
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry for moving around. I'm losing battery rapidly. Went in the house to find a charger. Didn't find a charger, so I came back out. I got a really low percentage here. So
That's because I got the charger because I was down to 4%. Yeah.
thanks for that. That's what I figured when I went in there and it was absent. I'm like,
Yep.
oh boy.
The good news is that God knocked out the cell tower or the Wi-Fi tower for me, but I was able to restore it via private connection. And then the powers that be, the machines themselves are trying to knock you out. So we're fighting an uphill battle. But
Yeah. But we're winning right now. We're winning.
we have some options, and there's not many options that exist outside the system that can also work with the system. Most people want to blow it up. They want to start a revolution or a reactionary civil war in data or systems or whatever. It's a parallel system that can exist with the other thing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that I'm working on is my best effort to say I know where everyone else is going, but just give us a choice. If y'all are broadcasting, radio waves, give me the ability to create a podcast, to record a demo album off of a microphone I bought at a used secondhand store, recorded directly to an AWA tape. Give me an 8-track, something I can play in my car that you can't censor. It's not about some sort of rebellion and restoration, although I think most of us here would just be thankful if some of that was brought back. It's if we enter a future in which 30, 40, 70, 80% of the population can't speak, not speak, did not mean that, can't speak, because all of us are, I don't know, categorized as some slur. We'll call it like undesirables, or if I had to pick one from, I guess, who knows, 8 years ago, like a deplorable. If we're deplorables and we're not allowed to talk, if we're not allowed to speak or bank or interact with each other, have our voices shared, if we're cut off social media because we're defined as hate speech, wrong think, we're not just living in 1984 by George Orwell. It's already here, and we're already left behind in a version that the censors erased years ago. So I don't mean to be alarmist or whatever, but we don't really have hours or even days to waste. Every single second that if you agree with this message or not, every single second, every single hour, every single day that we don't try to offer a solution that is viable and participates with the system being given to us, while also reclaiming who we are and why we matter as humans. If we do not offer that, it's over. And I'm not talking about your views. I'm talking about the human race, the ability to be an individual. And yeah, anyway, that's what I feel like I achieved today. Is the first time I've been able to show others to pick that and have them see something that gives them a glimpse into that. It not only says like, hey, this is a disaster and a really bad thing. There's hope. There's hope. All I need is join my live streams. Help. I don't know how the best way to help me, because apparently I'm not good at communication, even though I try really hard. Help. If something resonates with you, help. That's it.
And share that information, because a lot of people aren't aware. So if you see something that you like, something that resonates with you, then share that with a friend or family member or somebody else, and maybe they can help even more. Maybe they have something else they need help with, and this will be an answer for them as well. I can tell you, I'll give you just a tiny microcosm, if my battery lasts, about how things have become less human. When I was a little girl, you would go to the same cashier every week. And when you check your groceries out, she would know your aunt or your uncle, and you'd be like, "Hey, does so and so? I heard they have puppies again. Do you know anybody that needs a puppy?" I mean, stuff. There was a feeling of being connected, of having some history, like you say, about your human history, your human experience. You had that shared experience of living in the same community, and then that past experience of shared together. Oh, I remember, 2 years ago when they had puppies or whatever. We would go to a local place. A guy would pump our gas for us, wash our windshield. It was much the same thing. He would, it's a conversation about, oh yeah, you remember so and so down the street, what happened when that tornado hit that big tree or whatever. It was the shared experience of where they lived, of where we lived, of our culture, and also just our history together. We're like, yeah, I remember that, and so we were connected. And you don't have that today. You pump your gas for yourself. You probably don't even interact with anyone whatsoever, unless it's the person who's also pumping their gas for themselves beside you. So I'd like to get back to human. I like
Yeah.
that.
Beautifully
Yep.
said. Any final thoughts, Ken or Lori, before we wrap up here?
No, I think it's a great message, and I hope it will resonate with people and they'll listen and take it to heart and act on it.
Me too. It's a great program and it'll provide a great service to everyone.
Perfect. Well, we're not going to make it at 47 minutes. Let's see if we can wrap it up at 45. Thank you guys, and God bless y'all, and God bless America.
And God bless you and
Amen.
God bless
God bless
America.
you.
Thanks.
That's right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.